The vast ships appeared in the sky without warning. 7 of them, each the size of a small city, hanging above Earth like dark clouds. For 3 days, they did nothing but wait, floating silently beyond the reach of any human weapons. On the 4th day, they sent a message. "We come in peace," the translation read. "We represent the Galactic Imperial Union, and we wish to welcome Earth into our family of worlds." In the underground meeting room beneath the White House, President Olivia Harper looked at the faces around her. Some showed fear, others curiosity, and a few displayed open mistrust. "What do we know about them?" she asked. General Peter Walsh cleared his throat. "Not much, Madam President. Their technology is unlike anything we've seen. Our best guess is they're at least 300 years ahead of us." Frank Miller, captain of the Navy's experimental stealth vessel, leaned forward, "Which means they could wipe us out if they wanted to. The fact that they haven't done so yet is interesting." "They want something," said Susan Clark, the State Department's top diplomat. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were sharp. "Nobody travels across the stars just to make friends." President Harper nodded. "Then let's find out what they want. Susan, you and Captain Miller will head our welcome team. Be polite, be respectful, but don't agree to anything." The meeting spot was a flat, empty field in Montana. The government had built a simple structure there in just 2 days, a single room with a large round table. No weapons were allowed, though Miller kept a small knife hidden in his boot, just in case. The alien who entered the room looked almost human, except for the purple tint to its skin and the extra finger on each hand. It called itself Ambassador of Relcon. "We are pleased to meet the representatives of Earth," it said in perfect English. "Your world has been chosen to join our great empire. This is a great honor." Susan smiled politely. "We are grateful for your interest in our planet. Perhaps you could tell us more about this empire of yours." For the next hour, Vrelcon spoke of the glories of the Galactic Imperial Union. Thousands of worlds united under one banner, sharing technology and resources. It sounded wonderful. Too wonderful, Miller thought. And what would be expected of Earth in return for joining? Susan asked. "Oh, very little," the ambassador said with a wave of its 6-fingered hand. "Some resources, of course, a small tribute of your metals and rare elements. And naturally, your military would be absorbed into our imperial forces." Miller noticed how the alien's eyes changed when it mentioned resources, a slight narrowing, a flash of something cold and calculating. Later, back at the secure facility, Susan reviewed the translator's notes. "There's something wrong with the treaty they gave us," she said. "The translation doesn't match their original language." Miller looked over her shoulder at the complex alien symbols. "What does it really say?" Susan's face grew grim. "They don't use the word join or member when referring to Earth. The closest translation would be acquisition or possession." The next day, when they met with Vrelcon again, Susan pointed out the discrepancy. The ambassador's friendly demeanor changed instantly. "A minor translation error," it said, but its voice had hardened. "It changes nothing. Your world will benefit greatly from imperial protection. And if we choose not to join your empire?" Miller asked. Vrelcon's lips curved into what might have been a smile, but had no warmth in it. "All worlds eventually join the empire, Captain Miller. The only question is how painful the process will be." When they reported back to President Harper, the room fell silent. "So that's it," she said finally. "They're not here to welcome us. They're here to take over." General Walsh pounded his fist on the table. "We should strike first, while we have the chance." "With what?" Miller asked. "Their ships could vaporize our cities before we even got close." Susan looked thoughtful. "Maybe we don't need to fight them. Not directly." "What are you suggesting?" the president asked. "We make them think we're not worth the trouble," Susan said. "We show them just enough of what we can do to make them reconsider." Miller smiled slowly. "A warning shot." President Harper nodded. Get me all our best scientists and military strategists. If we're going to bluff an alien empire, we better make it convincing." As they left the room, no one noticed the small drone that had been listening from the air vent. A drone with technology far beyond anything humans could build. The hidden base beneath the Rocky Mountains buzzed with activity. Scientists and military personnel moved with purpose through the long concrete tunnels. This facility had existed for decades, unknown to the public, built for a day that many had hoped would never come. John Martinez, the head of intelligence, stood before a large screen showing images of the alien ships. "We've been monitoring their communications," he said to the assembled group. "They're not as careful as they should be." President Harper looked surprised. "You can understand their language?" "Not exactly," said Dr. Allen West, stepping forward. A tall man with tired eyes and rumpled clothes, he had been working nonstop since the aliens arrived. "But we've had advantages." "What kind of advantages?" Susan Clark asked. Dr. West hesitated, then nodded to President Harper, who gave him a small nod in return. In 1952, a small alien craft crashed in the desert. It wasn't like the ships up there now. Different design, different technology. But it gave us a starting point. We've been studying it ever since. Captain Miller stared at him. "Are you saying we've had alien technology for over 70 years? And we've done more than study it?" Dr. West said. "We've adapted it, improved it. In some ways, we've gone beyond it." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. "Show them," President Harper said. Dr. West led them through a heavy door and into a vast underground hangar. Inside sat what looked like a sleek silver aircraft, but with no visible engines or wings. "This is just one of our projects," Dr. West said. "We have others. Defense systems, weapons, things that even the Empire doesn't have." "Why keep all this secret?" Susan asked, "even from most of the government?" "Fear," General Walsh said simply. "Fear of what might happen if the wrong people got this technology. And fear of what might come looking for us if they knew what we had." "Well, something found us anyway," Miller pointed out. Back in the conference room, Lisa Rodriguez, a naval admiral with a reputation for bold strategies, spoke up. "So what's our play? Do we show them what we have? Try to fight?" "I think that would be a mistake," Susan said. "Even with our secret technology, they outnumber us. There are thousands of worlds in their empire." "Then what do you suggest?" General Walsh asked. "We need to make them think twice about trying to take Earth," Susan said. "Not because we can defeat them, but because we're too much trouble." Miller nodded slowly. "Like a porcupine. Not the most dangerous animal, but not one you want to grab with your bare hands." "Exactly," Susan agreed. "We need to deliver a message, a warning." President Harper considered this. "Admiral Rodriguez, you'll lead the diplomatic team. Captain Miller, you'll provide security. Dr. West, prepare a demonstration of our capabilities, something impressive, but not revealing everything we have." "And the message?" Admiral Rodriguez asked. "Keep it simple," President Harper said. "Tell them that Earth declines their offer, and that we strongly advise them to leave our solar system." The next day, a small human shuttle approached the main alien ship. Inside, Admiral Rodriguez straightened her uniform and prepared to meet the aliens. The Imperial reception chamber was designed to intimidate, with high ceilings and guards wearing gleaming armor. Ambassador Vrelkan sat on an elevated platform, looking down at the humans with barely disguised contempt. "Have you come to finalize the terms of Earth's entrance into the Empire?" Vrelkan asked. Admiral Rodriguez stood tall. "No. I've come to deliver a message from Earth's united governments. We appreciate your offer, but we must decline. Earth will remain independent." Laughter echoed through the chamber, a strange, chittering sound from the alien guards. "That is not an option," Vrelkan said coldly. "You misunderstand. This is not a negotiation." "No," Rodriguez agreed. "It's not. It's a warning. Leave Earth's solar system now. Vrelkon's expression shifted to one of amusement. Or what, human? Your primitive weapons cannot touch our ships. Rodriguez smiled slightly. We were hoping you'd ask that. At that moment, Dr. West activated the device he had brought aboard, a small silver sphere that began to pulse with blue light. Throughout the alien ship, screens flickered and went dark. Gravity wavered, and Ambassador Vrelkon's smug expression turned to shock. The small silver sphere pulsed one final time before going dark. Throughout the alien ship, systems began to come back online. The demonstration was complete. What have you done? Vrelkon demanded, rising from his seat. Admiral Rodriguez remained calm. A simple demonstration. The device created a controlled energy field that temporarily disabled your ship's systems. We could have shut you down completely if we wanted to. The alien's purple skin darkened with anger. This is impossible. Your species doesn't have this technology. There's a lot you don't know about us, Miller said, his hand resting near his hidden knife. That's the point of our message. The alien guards moved forward, but Vrelkon held up a six-fingered hand to stop them. The ambassador's eyes had narrowed to slits. You have made a grave mistake, he said. The Empire does not tolerate defiance. And Earth does not tolerate threats, Rodriguez replied. We're leaving now. You have 24 hours to withdraw your ships from our solar system. Back on Earth, the President watched the recorded meeting with her advisors. They won't leave, General Walsh said. They'll attack. I know. President Harper nodded. Are we ready? Dr. West and Dr. Karen Reeves, the head of the Planetary Defense Program, exchanged glances. The shield grid is operational, Dr. Reeves said, but it's never been tested against weapons like theirs. And the UES Defender? The President asked. Captain George Bennett reports all systems go, General Walsh answered. The ship is in position, hidden behind the moon. Just as predicted, the Imperial fleet didn't leave. Instead, 3 more ships arrived, smaller and more aggressive in design. Attack vessels, Martins explained as they watched the feed from orbital satellites. They're spreading out to surround Earth. They're targeting major cities, a technician called out. Weapons systems powering up. Activate Protocol Prometheus, the President ordered. In a hidden command center beneath the Pacific Ocean, Captain George Bennett received the order. The UES Defender, Earth's first true warship built with reverse-engineered alien technology, powered up its engines and moved out of the moon's shadow. Target the 3 smallest Imperial ships, Bennett ordered. EMP weapons only. Beneath the ship's hull, 3 ports opened. The weapons inside didn't fire lasers or missiles. They sent out precisely targeted electromagnetic pulses designed to bypass the alien shields and overload their systems. On the Imperial ships, confusion spread as controls failed and engines died. 3 of the smaller vessels drifted helplessly in space. The larger ships responded immediately, firing energy beams toward Earth's surface. The beams streaked through the atmosphere, aimed at Washington, Moscow, and Beijing. But they never reached their targets. Dr. Reeves stood in her control room, surrounded by screens showing the incoming attack. Activate the shield grid, she ordered. Around the planet, hidden installations powered up. A shimmer appeared in the sky as the energy beams from the alien ships hit an invisible barrier and dissipated harmlessly. In space, the Imperial ships fired again, with the same result. Send the message, President Harper instructed. Admiral Rodriguez's face appeared on all Imperial communication channels. This was merely a demonstration, she said calmly. We disabled 3 of your ships and stopped your attack without destroying anything. This is your final warning. Leave Earth's solar system now, or we will be forced to respond in kind. On the Imperial flagship, Commander Zixtal watched with disbelief. How is this possible? He demanded of his science officer. They were supposed to be primitive. Unknown, Commander. The science officer replied, his voice shaking slightly. Our intelligence was clearly flawed. Zixtal made a quick decision. Recall the disabled ships. We're pulling back to regroup. The Imperial fleet retreated to the edge of the solar system, beyond Mars' orbit. On Earth, there was no celebration. Everyone knew this was just the beginning. They'll be back, Miller said during the emergency meeting that followed. And next time, they'll be ready for our defenses. President Harper looked around the room at the faces of Earth's defenders. Then we better be ready for them too. Dr. West, what else do we have? Dr. West smiled slightly. It's time to show you Project Sentinel. Project Sentinel was hidden deep beneath the Arizona desert. The elevator took them down for nearly 5 minutes before the doors opened to reveal a vast underground space filled with strange machines. What is all this? Miller asked, looking around in wonder. Engineer Paul Johnson stepped forward. He was young for his position, barely 30, with quick eyes that never seemed to stop moving. This is the future of Earth's defense, he said proudly. Dr. Diane Foster, the lead AI specialist, joined them. Project Sentinel began 20 years ago, when we realized that traditional weapons would never be enough against advanced alien technology. She led them to a central platform where a glowing blue sphere hovered in midair. This is the heart of Sentinel, she explained, an artificial intelligence system designed to learn and adapt to any threat. It controls thousands of autonomous defense units stationed throughout our solar system. You built an AI to fight aliens, General Walsh asked skeptically. Not just any AI, Dr. Foster said. Sentinel is based partly on technology we reverse-engineered from the 1952 crash. It thinks differently than any computer we could have built on our own. President Harper looked troubled. Is it safe? Paul Johnson nodded. It has strict programming limits. It can't turn against humans, and it can't act outside our solar system without direct orders. We've kept it dormant until now, Dr. Foster added. But with the Imperial fleet regrouping, it's time to wake it up. Meanwhile, in deep space, the situation was growing worse. The Imperial ships had sent urgent messages back to their home world, and now a much larger fleet was on its way. Leading this armada was Grand Admiral Tolbarix, one of the Empire's most feared military commanders. Colonel Sam Wilson monitored their approach from a hidden station on Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. They'll be here in less than 12 hours, he reported to Earth. At least 30 ships, maybe more. Back on Earth, the leadership debated their options. We should strike first, General Walsh insisted. Use the Defender to hit them before they enter the solar system. That would be suicide, Admiral Rodriguez countered. Even with our advanced technology, we're still outnumbered. Susan Clark had been quiet, studying reports from the intelligence team. Now she looked up. There's something you all should see, she said, and displayed a series of images on the main screen. Our deep space telescopes captured these. The Imperial fleet is bringing something with them. The images showed an enormous device being towed behind the fleet. What is that? President Harper asked. Dr. West's face went pale. If I'm right, it's a gravity weapon, capable of tearing a planet apart. The room fell silent. Can our shields stop it? Miller finally asked. I don't know, Dr. West admitted. Nothing on Earth could generate that kind of power. Nothing on Earth, Paul Johnson repeated thoughtfully. But what about Project Orpheus? Dr. Foster shot him a warning look, but it was too late. What is Project Orpheus? President Harper demanded. Dr. West sighed. It's complicated. When we examined the crashed ship from 1952, we found coordinates. They led to a location in deep space, far beyond Pluto. We sent a probe there 15 years ago. And, Miller prompted, the probe found an installation. Alien, but not Imperial design. Much, much older. We think it might have been built by the same species that crashed in 1952. What does it do? Susan asked. We don't know for sure, Dr. West said, but based on the energy readings, it's powerful. Incredibly powerful. We've kept it dormant, afraid of activating something we don't understand. President Harper's expression hardened. And now we're facing a weapon that can destroy our planet. I think it's time to take that risk. She turned to Miller. Captain, I want you and Dr. Foster to activate Sentinel. We'll need every defense we have. Colonel Wilson will keep tracking the Imperial fleet. Her gaze moved to Dr. West. And you will tell me everything about Project Orpheus. Everything. As they moved to follow her orders, a technician called out, Madam President, we're receiving a transmission from the Imperial fleet. On the screen, the face of Grand Admiral Tolbarix appeared. His skin was darker purple than Vrelicon's, with prominent ridges on his forehead. People of Earth, he said, his voice deep and commanding. I am Grand Admiral Tolbarix of the Galactic Imperial Union. Your defiance ends now. Surrender within 24 hours, or face extinction. No one slept that night. In command centers around the world, people worked frantically to prepare for the coming battle. The countdown timer on the main screen showed 18 hours remaining until the Imperial deadline. Captain Miller and Dr. Foster stood before the glowing blue sphere of Project Sentinel. Are you sure about this? Miller asked. Once we activate it fully, can we shut it down if something goes wrong? Dr. Foster nodded. There are safeguards, multiple kill switches, but we need Sentinel now more than ever. She placed her palm on a scanner, and Miller did the same. The blue sphere pulsed brightly, then expanded. Holographic displays appeared around them, showing thousands of points of light throughout the solar system. Sentinel is awake, Dr. Foster said. The defense network is coming online. In space, hidden factories on the dark side of the moon activated. Thousands of small drones, each no bigger than a car, launched silently. They spread out across the solar system, taking position behind asteroids and moons, invisible to Imperial sensors. Meanwhile, Dr. West led President Harper to a secure communication room. Project Orpheus was meant to be a last resort, he explained. We never thought we'd actually need to use it. He entered a complex code into a terminal. A moment later, a signal beamed out from Earth, aimed at the distant installation beyond Pluto. How long until we know if it worked? President Harper asked. Hours, maybe. The installation is very far away. On the bridge of the UES Defender, Captain George Bennett received new orders. Move the ship to Saturn's rings, he read. Hide there until Sentinel gives the signal to attack. His first officer looked concerned. That's awfully far from Earth. If the Imperial fleet breaks through, we won't be able to help in time. Those are our orders, Bennett said firmly. There's a plan in motion bigger than what we know. The Imperial fleet entered the solar system with confidence. Grand Admiral Tolbarix stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching as they passed the orbit of Neptune. Any sign of Earth defenses? He asked. Nothing, Admiral, his sensor officer replied. Their solar system appears unguarded. Tolbarix frowned. This didn't match the reports he had received. Proceed with caution. They may be hiding their forces. The fleet moved closer, passing Uranus and then Saturn. Still no sign of resistance. Perhaps they have decided to surrender after all. Tolbarix's second-in-command suggested. No, the Admiral said. They're planning something. I can feel it. As the deadline approached, Colonel Sam Wilson monitored the Imperial fleet from his station on Europa. They're passing Jupiter now, he reported. 12 ships in the lead, with the main fleet behind them. In the command center on Earth, President Harper gave the order they had all been waiting for. Activate Sentinel's combat protocols. Dr. Foster pressed her hand to the scanner again. Sentinel, initiate defense pattern Alpha. The blue sphere flashed red. Throughout the solar system, the hidden drones activated at once. They swarmed toward the Imperial advance ships, appearing suddenly on all sides. Admiral, the sensor officer shouted, we're detecting thousands of small craft. They were hiding in the asteroid belt. Before Tolbarix could respond, the drones opened fire. They didn't use lasers or missiles, but focused gravity beams that disrupted the Imperial ship's engines. 3 ships lost power immediately. 2 more spun out of control as their navigation systems failed. "Return fire," Tulbarix ordered. The Imperial weapons were powerful, but designed to hit large targets. The small, fast-moving drones were nearly impossible to target. From its hiding place in Saturn's rings, the UES Defender and 2 sister ships that had been kept secret even from most of Earth's military emerged. They accelerated toward the battle, weapons ready. In the command center, Miller watched with amazement as Sentinel coordinated the attack, adapting its tactics as it learned the Imperial ship's weaknesses. "It's working," he said. "We're actually hurting them." But then the main Imperial fleet arrived. Far larger than the advanced ships, they carried weapons that could destroy the drones by the hundreds. "We need more time," Dr. Foster said anxiously. Just then, a technician called out, "Dr. West, we're getting a response from Project Orpheus." On the main screen, a signal appeared from deep space. Something very large was moving toward the solar system, faster than should have been possible. Dr. West smiled for the first time in days. "It worked," he said. "Help is coming." The battle raged throughout the solar system. Imperial ships fired on Earth's drones, destroying many, but more kept coming. The UES Defender and its sister ships fought bravely, using hit-and-run tactics against the much larger alien vessels. But it wasn't enough. The Imperial fleet was too big, their weapons too powerful. Slowly but surely, they pushed toward Earth. In the underground command center, the mood grew tense. "Sentinel is losing too many drones," Dr. Foster reported. "The shield grid can stop some attacks, but not the gravity weapon." "How long until Project Orpheus reaches us?" President Harper asked. 6 hours at least," Dr. West replied. "We need to hold them off until then." Miller had been quiet, watching the battle displays. Now he spoke up. "I've been thinking about something." Ambassador Vrelkon seemed shocked by our technology, like he couldn't believe humans could have developed it. "So," General Walsh asked impatiently, "so what if he was right? What if we didn't develop it ourselves? At least not originally." Miller turned to Dr. West. "The crashed ship from 1952. You said it wasn't Imperial design. What was it?" Dr. West hesitated. "We never identified the species. The ship's computer was damaged. But there were symbols that matched some very ancient human artifacts." "What are you saying?" Susan asked. "I think we need to look at our own history," Miller said. "Dr. Eric Morgan is an anthropologist who's been studying ancient civilizations. He's found things that don't fit our understanding of human development." President Harper made a quick decision. "Get him here now." Dr. Morgan arrived 2 hours later. He was an older man with excited eyes who carried a tablet filled with images. "Captain Miller is right," he said after being briefed. "There's evidence that humans had advanced technology thousands of years ago. Technology that shouldn't have been possible." He showed them images of ancient artifacts with circuit-like patterns and cave paintings that looked remarkably like the alien ships now threatening Earth. "I always thought these were myths or misinterpretations," Dr. Morgan said. "But now I'm not so sure." "Are you saying humans fought these aliens before?" Susan asked. "Not just fought them," Dr. Morgan said. "I think we were once part of a much more advanced civilization, one that the Empire destroyed or drove away long ago." Nancy Howard, a linguist who had been working on translating Imperial communications, joined them. "There's more," she said. "In their language, they don't call us humans or Earthlings. They use a word that translates roughly as the Forgotten Ones or the Lost Tribe." The room fell silent as everyone absorbed this revelation. "So we're not a newly discovered species," Miller said slowly. "We're an old enemy they thought was gone forever. And now they're afraid that we're remembering who we really are," Susan added. President Harper stood up. "This changes everything. Dr. West, what exactly is Project Orpheus bringing us?" "I'm not entirely sure," he admitted, "but based on the energy readings, it could be a weapon, Or a ship, something very powerful and very old. Just then, alarms blared. On the main screen, they saw that the Imperial fleet had broken through the outer defenses. The enormous gravity weapon was moving into position, aimed at Earth. "We're out of time," General Walsh said grimly. Dr. Foster looked up from her console. "Sentinel has a suggestion. It's risky, but it might work." "Let's hear it," President Harper said. "The crashed ship had a unique energy signature. Sentinel thinks we can use that to send a signal that will activate something hidden beneath Antarctica, something that's been there for thousands of years." Miller looked at Dr. Morgan. "Is that possible? Could there be ancient technology hidden on Earth itself?" "There are legends about a place at the bottom of the world where the gods slept," Dr. Morgan said. "I always thought they were just stories." President Harper didn't hesitate. "Do it." Dr. Foster sent the signal. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, deep beneath the Antarctic ice, something awoke. The ground began to shake as a structure that had lain dormant for millennia started to rise. On the Imperial flagship, Grand Admiral Tolbarix received an urgent message from his homeworld. The Emperor himself appeared on the screen, his expression one of fear. "Abort the attack," the Emperor ordered. "Withdraw immediately." "But we have them at our mercy," Tolbarix protested. "You fool," the Emperor hissed. "Don't you understand what planet you're attacking? That's Earth, home of the precursors." In Antarctica, the ice split open. A massive structure rose from the frozen ground, its surface gleaming despite thousands of years of burial. It was shaped like a star with 5 points, each 1 mile long. Captain Miller led a team to investigate. They landed near one of the points and approached cautiously. "Any idea what this is?" Miller asked over the radio. "Some kind of defense system, we think," Dr. West replied from the command center. "The design matches symbols we found in the crashed ship." The team reached a doorway that opened automatically as they approached. Inside, they found a control room with strange symbols covering the walls. In the center stood a pillar of light. "Dr. Howard, are you seeing this?" Miller asked, transmitting video back to the command center. The linguist studied the symbols. "They're similar to some very ancient human writing, but much more complex." Miller approached the light pillar cautiously. As he got closer, images appeared in the air around him. Stars, planets, and what looked like battle scenes. "I think it's showing us history," he said. "Our history." The images showed a great civilization spanning many worlds. Then came scenes of a terrible war against the Empire. The civilization lost and scattered across the galaxy. One group came to Earth, erased their technology, and hid themselves among the primitive humans already living there. "They gave up everything to hide from the Empire," Miller said in awe. "They became us." Suddenly, Miller felt a strange sensation. Knowledge flooded into his mind. How to work the controls, what the machine could do. I know how to use it," he said in surprise. Back in the command center, others reported the same experience. Dr. West suddenly understood Project Orpheus completely. Dr. Foster saw new ways to enhance Sentinel. Engineers around the world felt sudden inspiration, as if remembering things they had once known. "It's activating something in our DNA," Dr. Morgan suggested. "Genetic memory. The knowledge of our ancestors was never truly lost." In space, the ancient installation from Project Orpheus arrived. It wasn't a weapon or a ship, but a massive space station. It took position near Earth's moon and began to glow with energy. On the Imperial flagship, Grand Admiral Tolbarix watched in horror as both the Antarctic structure and the space station powered up. "What are those?" he demanded. His science officer's voice shook with fear. "Admiral, they match descriptions of precursor defense systems, the kind that destroyed the old empire 10,000 years ago." "Impossible," Tolbarix whispered. "The precursors are gone." Just then, Admiral Rodriguez's face appeared on his screen. "This is your final warning," she said calmly. "Leave our solar system now and never return." Tulberic saw something different in her eyes now, an ancient confidence, as if she spoke with the authority of a civilization far older than his own. Across Earth, people felt the change. Not everyone received specific knowledge, but many felt a new certainty, a connection to something greater than themselves. In the Antarctic control room, Miller placed his hand on a panel. The star-shaped structure hummed with power. Energy beams shot up into space, creating a network around Earth. "What did you do?" President Harper asked over the radio. "Created a true defense grid," Miller replied. "Nothing the Empire has can get through this." The Imperial gravity weapon fired, its beam streaking toward Earth. But when it hit the new energy network, it simply vanished, absorbed completely. In the command center, Dr. West looked up from his console. Project Orpheus is transmitting a message. It's broadcasting to the entire galaxy. On screens throughout human and Imperial ships alike, the same message appeared in hundreds of languages. Earth is under the protection of the Precursor Defense Network. Any hostile action against this world will be met with maximum response. You have been warned. The Imperial fleet began to withdraw, the gravity weapon towed behind them. "They're leaving," Susan said in disbelief. "For now," Miller replied as he returned from Antarctica. "But they'll be back eventually. Not to conquer us this time. To negotiate." President Harper looked thoughtful. "Then we better be ready. Humanity just rejoined the galactic community in a very big way." Dr. Foster smiled. "I think we sent our message loud and clear. Stay far, far away. Unless you come in peace." 6 months passed since the Imperial fleet retreated. Earth had changed in ways both visible and invisible. The ancient knowledge awakened in people's minds led to rapid advances in technology. Cities now had clean energy from small fusion reactors. Hospitals used devices that could heal injuries in minutes. Captain Miller stood on the observation deck of humanity's newest ship, the UES Constitution. Unlike the Defender, this vessel had been built entirely with recovered precursor knowledge. It was larger, faster, and more powerful than anything humans had created before. "Impressive, isn't it?" Admiral Rodriguez said as she joined him. Miller nodded. "Hard to believe we built this in just 6 months." "With a little help from our ancestors," Rodriguez smiled. "The shipyards on Mars are working on 5 more like it." The Constitution was preparing for its first mission beyond the solar system. After careful discussion, Earth's leaders had decided it was time to explore the galaxy again, not as conquerors, but as observers. In the ship's conference room, Susan Clark, now head of the newly formed Stellar Diplomatic Corps, briefed the crew. "The Empire has established a formal quarantine zone around our solar system," she explained. "Their official records now list Earth as a sovereign exclusion species, with warnings about how dangerous we are." "That should keep them away for a while," Miller said. "It has," Susan agreed. "But there's more. We've been receiving transmissions from other worlds. Some were once part of the same civilization as our ancestors. Others are species that have suffered under Imperial rule." She showed them a map of nearby star systems. Several were highlighted in green. "These worlds want to establish contact with us. They see Earth as a symbol of resistance." Miller looked troubled. "Are we ready for that? To become the center of an anti-imperial movement?" "We don't have much choice," President Harper said as she entered the room. "The knowledge we've recovered shows that the Empire won't leave us alone forever. They fear us too much. Eventually, they'll try to destroy us again." She walked to the window, looking out at the stars. "Our ancestors made a mistake. They ran and hid, tried to disappear from history. That only delayed the inevitable. This time, we need to face the Empire from a position of strength." The UES Constitution's first mission would be to visit Alpha Centauri, where long-range scans had detected the ruins of an ancient precursor outpost. They hoped to find more technology and perhaps records of other survivor worlds. Captain Linda Phillips would command the mission. She had been a pilot before the awakening, but now found herself with knowledge of interstellar navigation. she had never studied. "We'll depart in 3 days," she told her crew. "This is a peaceful mission, but we'll be ready for anything." Back on Earth, in the Antarctic facility, Dr. Morgan and Dr. Howard continued to translate the vast library of information stored there. Each day brought new revelations about humanity's true past. "It's amazing," Dr. Howard said. "The precursors, our ancestors, once ruled nearly a third of the galaxy. Their empire was based on cooperation, not conquest. Until they met the Imperial Union." Dr. Morgan nodded. "A classic clash of values." In his private office beneath the White House, President Harper reviewed the latest intelligence reports. The Imperial fleet that had attacked Earth had returned to the Empire's capital world in disgrace. Grand Admiral Tolbarix had been removed from command. More concerning were reports that the Emperor had ordered research into weapons that might penetrate the precursor defense network. They were preparing for a future conflict. Harper opened a secure channel to the hidden base on Europa, where Colonel Wilson oversaw the construction of a massive sensor array. "How soon until the early warning system is online?" she asked. 2 months, Madam President," Wilson replied. "It will give us advance notice of any Imperial movements within 50 light years." Harper nodded. "Good. Keep me updated." As night fell over the White House, she stepped onto the balcony and looked up at the stars. So many worlds out there, so many possibilities. And now, humanity had rejoined the galactic community not as newcomers, but as returning members of an ancient legacy. The road ahead would be challenging. The Empire was vast and powerful, but Earth was no longer alone. Their ancestors had left them the tools they needed, and their warning to the galaxy had been delivered. "Stay far, far away from Earth, unless you come as friends."